So I've been thinking about whether or not I share this story, but I feel like I needed to, and now we're here. Something happened to me this week, and I'm still kind of processing it. Yeah, I just needed to share it. It also might sound small for some of you or most of you, but for me it's not small. It's that deep, and I want to treat it as such. I wrote everything down so that I stay structured because I could be all over the place sometimes. So this week I was teaching a theater camp in Knokke in West Flanders, so in Belgium. The story takes place in Belgium. So I was teaching this camp in Knokke in West Flanders, but we're gonna pause there. Like, in order for you to really understand why it affected me the way it did, we need to go all the way back. So I'm Brussels based. I live in Brussels, but I grew up in Bruges, and Bruges is the capital of West Flanders. And I've lived in the Netherlands as well, but I was born in Suriname. When I was a kid, I moved around a lot, like a lot. Not only between those three countries, so Suriname, Belgium, and the Netherlands, but also within those countries, I've moved around a lot. And I think because of all of the moving around, the question, where are you from, holds so much weight for me. Like, it's such a difficult question to answer because my mind was always like, what do you mean with that question? Like, do you mean where I live, where I'm actually from, where I was born? It's always. And as a kid growing into a teenager, it's when you're already trying to figure out who you are. For me, it felt so much more heavier because I genuinely didn't know where I belong. Like, I'm not Surinamese enough, I'm not Dutch enough, like I don't really belong in Belgium, so that question just holds a lot of weight. And I always sort of say this jokingly, but I have beef with Belgium. It really goes back to when I first moved to Belgium. That was when I was in first grade, yes. Because that was the first time I've experienced racism. That was the first time that I was made aware that I looked different. It showed up in small ways, but also ways that are not so small. Kids touching my hair, kids calling me names, calling me or comparing me to an ape, and actually making those sounds. And even the adults, like, being surprised that I spoke Dutch so well, asking me where I'm from, asking me where I'm really, really from. And I was always confused as a kid because why am I explaining to you as an adult where I'm from and why I am able to speak Dutch? Because as a kid, it's logic. It's just like, it was confusing to me because I understood back then already that, oh yeah, I speak Dutch because the main language in Suriname is Dutch, and I know this, so if I know this, you should know this, right? All of these instances when they happened, I didn't know that it was racism. I didn't know I was dealing with racism. I just knew as a kid I felt weird and it felt uncomfortable. Like, I didn't like them touching my hair. I didn't like them obviously calling me an ape, but I couldn't be like, oh, that's because my skin color is different. I didn't like what was going on. I felt uncomfortable. And I felt something was wrong. I just didn't know that it was racism. So yeah, that's where the beef, so to speak, comes from. And I think because of that beef, or because of everything, at some point I had to protect myself. Like, growing up, I had to protect myself. I built my own spaces. I built my own space. I created my own circle over time, where things felt safe. Yeah, over time I just created a very strong defense mechanism and just had to protect myself. So, very small background story. But going back into the camp, I didn't even think about any of that. I didn't think about any of that. Going into this camp, I was really thinking about kids. I've never worked with kids like this, at a level like this. I was just thinking about the kids and if they're gonna like it, if they're gonna enjoy themselves. And I just wanted to make them I just wanted to give them a good time, but also teach them something. I was working with kids in two different groups. And in the first group, the age gaps between the kids were just crazy. So I was already thinking about, this is going to be a challenge, but I still went in and I was still very excited and also curious to see how I was going to pull this off. And side note, I did, by the way. So the first 2 days were very chaotic, but also rewarding. I remember coming home and just being exhausted, but also having like this feeling of, they actually like me. Like, okay, I'm actually doing something. I didn't go into this thinking about race at all. And honestly, I wish that for everyone. I wish that every minority group could go into places or go into situations not thinking about that thing that makes them different. We shouldn't have to live like that, honestly. But okay, back to the camp. So this was a 4-day camp, and came day 3. We were with 16 kids. 16 kids is a lot to just, take on. And we divided the kids. So I had a group of 8 and she had a group of 8 kids. We were working towards the first scene, and we already established that the group of my colleague were going to wait outside. They were going to come in, and then we were going to have like the first scene, and I was with my groups backstage waiting for them to come in. So I'm backstage with this group of kids, and the lights are off. Mind you, the kids are very ecstatic all day, and they're kind of a little bit of getting annoying. Like, they're just getting on each other's nerves, and they were getting on my nerves. So we're backstage, there's a lot of noise. I'm shushing the kids because I'm like, guys, if the other groups walks in and you are all here talking and being distracted, that's disrespectful. You would want them to listen to you when you go on stage, right? And they were like, yeah, but they kept like annoying each other. And there was this one kid, he was making fun of the fact that it was so dark and that he couldn't see anyone. So he was playing with his friend, I guess, and he was like, I can't see you, I can see you, it's so dark. And that's where my head was already like, where could this go? Because this kid was kind of making risky jokes here and there already. So I was like, is this going to go where I think it's going to go? But I didn't want to put that on him. So I was just shushing them, and I was waiting on the other group. They were taking their time as well. They were taking their time. But he kept like, I can't see you, I can see you, to his friend, I can see you, you're black, you're black, you're black. Mind you, the friend is not black, the friend is white. And when he said like, you're black, you're too black, I can see you, I felt, immediately I froze. Like, mentally, it felt like there was a glitch, and I already thought like, okay, I hope this is not going further than that, but any minute now they walk in. Everything happened very fast. I need you to know that. That's why I wrote everything down, because it happened so fast and everything was just pop, 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 pop. But he is like to his friend, you're too black, I can't see you. And then he said the N-word. Hard ER, by the way, like hard ER. And even though before that moment, my mind was already on standby, when he said that word, I still froze, and I still, literally as I am now, I was still shocked, because mind you, we speak Dutch. In Dutch, for me personally, this is my opinion, I find the N-word, hard ER, very, very triggering. It's very triggering. So me hearing that word, I froze mentally, but it was like my body was doing all the work. So I saw that he was saying it, but it was dark, but not too dark that I couldn't see them, like, obviously. So I saw he said it, and I wanted to turn on the lights, because I was like, did I hear this correctly? And in me turning on the light, he said it again, and now I could see him actually saying it. So they all saw my reaction. He was really the instigator of the group. So when he saw my reaction, and when the rest saw my reaction, the rest was like quiet. And I looked at him and I said, did you actually say what I think you just said? I repeated it. Did you actually said what I think you just said? I was angry. I was angry, not explosive, but my feeling was angry, but I was very controlled. And when I said that to him, he immediately responded, yes, I said a bad word. And when he said that, I was even more like, not getting angrier, but I was even more confused, because what the fuck just happened? Like, what is happening right now? And I just reacted immediately. I was like, okay, that's it. So the lights were on. I told him, you need to come with me. You need to put on your shoes, and you need to put on your jacket or whatever. And I don't want you in this room anymore. So I don't know if I said it, but we were trying to do this scene in like 10 minutes, like 10, 15 minutes, because there wasn't a lot already, and we just really wanted them to leave to go home with something. So there were like 15 minutes, 10 minutes of this moment, like that everything went down. So there was not a lot of time. So when I told him to go outside, it was not like I was like, get out of here, just go, because I knew that the class was going to end in 10 to 12, 15 minutes. So I sent him outside, and in me doing this, I hear the other kids, like, I hear like them talking, whispering, but also laughing. And my mind was, I was tumbling in my mind, because I thought, are they laughing with me? And that's where I had something like, no, I don't take this disrespect. So I walk up to them and I'm like, guys, do you think this is normal? And their response honestly shocked me, because they were like, no, this is not normal. This is not normal at all. They were making fun of him, because they were like, why would he say that? That's such a bad word. You don't say that word. And they were actually making fun of him. And I'm still a teacher. Like, so many thoughts were going through my head, because I'm like, I'm still a teacher in this context. These are kids. I immediately reacted, and I was like, don't laugh at him. They were making jokes, and this was a moment for them to go like be chaotic again. So I was like, in control. I told them not to make fun of him. I told them I'm going outside with him, and you guys please stay quiet. The other group is coming. At this point, they were still not in, like, they were still outside of the theater room doing whatever. So in a fast moment, I told them to please still be quiet. And I also remember them telling them, okay, the fact that you already think that this is not normal, that does something to me. Like, good. But I'm taking, let's say, student X, I'm taking him outside. I don't want to see him right now. So as I'm bringing him outside, or as I'm sending him outside, the other group comes in, and my colleague is like, the lights are on, what's going on? And I just immediately quickly told her, like, he said the N-word. I don't need him in this space right now. I don't want him in this space. I don't take that word lightly. Like, you don't say that word. And she immediately was like, yeah, I understand. Like, okay, like, you're just gonna leave him outside? Pause. It's not like I told him to go outside. I just told him to sit outside of the class where there were like chairs, because the other groups were sitting there to wait their turn to come in. So I just told him to sit on the chair. It's not long anymore. Like, at this point, I think we just had like 5 minutes left. So I just told him to sit there, but my colleague was like, I don't think you can do that. And I was like, yes, because literally don't know how to continue now. It's like, I'm completely like baffled. So I need him to be out of the space. We finish this in the 5 minutes that we have. And then she was like, okay, afterwards, I think you need to talk to him about it. And I remember not really liking her response, because she was just like, oh, we don't have a lot of time, just get it over with kind of vibe. That's what she was giving me. And I was still in my mind like, what is happening? So at this point, he is sitting outside. I went back inside because we needed to finish this scene. Other kids were already like, the kids that came inside they were also whispering and asking the other kids what happened. I shut that down really quick. I told them, student X said a word that you do not say. I'm not going to go into it. We don't have a lot of time right now. Let's finish this scene and wrap this up, basically. So we finished the scene. It was very uncomfortable after that. And I told my colleague if she wanted to wrap this up, and I was going outside to talk with student X. So I go outside. At this point, I'm kind of sad. Like, I'm sad, but I'm trying to just be cool in a way, because my colleague was like, maybe he didn't know that it was a bad word. Some kids don't know this. But then I was like, no, because when I asked him about it, he said, yes, I said a bad word. So that was in my mind. So I sit next to him, and I go up with my hands like this, and I'm like, what just happened? Why did you say that word? You know it's a bad word, right? He said, yes, I know it's a bad word, but I didn't say it to you directly. I wasn't talking to you. And he was coming up with all of these excuses. Also, this kid is 13 years old. He was one of the older kids of the group. That's a side note. So he's coming up with all of these excuses. And I also kind of quickly shut that down, because I wanted to get my point across. And I wanted to tell him that it doesn't really matter what kind of context that you used it. You knew that I was sitting there, and you were already making these inappropriate jokes. You hurt my feelings with this word. Do you understand that? He kind of understand where I was coming from, but he kept saying, like, I didn't say it to you, and all the kids like say it at my school, and I have a friend that is black as well, so I'm not racist. So even in that moment, I had to think fast, because I didn't want to drag this. I was really, my mind was racing. He also told me, yeah, I know that it's a bad word, back in the day, So he even told me some of the history of the word, and that's what made me even more confused, because then why use it if you know where it comes from? So I didn't feel like going back and forth was the best solution. I just wanted to get across that he really hurt me with saying that word, and it didn't really matter if it was towards me or not. I was present, and he said it. And I told him as well, when I was your age, I was bullied with that same word. So you really hurt me. And to be honest, it's what I'm told him. You kind of ruined my day. I don't know how to go back inside and interact with the kids. I am really confused. He didn't say anything. This whole time he was like really just looking down and playing with his fingers. And I, in that moment, I think really fast. So all of this, again, happened very, very fast. But I'm sitting there thinking, okay, am I being too harsh? Am I being this? Like, is he regretful? Like, what is going on? But then I'm also like, maybe he's just sad that the fact that I took him out of the class and that he's not with his friend anymore. So all of these thoughts were racing. And I just decided as adult in this situation, because again, kid, adult, I'm still the adult. I decided to just wrap it up. I told him never to say that word again because it's a bad word. It's already time. The other kids were coming out of the theater room, and I just told him to just take his stuff, if he still had stuff inside, to just take it, and just never say that word again, and just wrap it up. So when I went back inside, that's when everything started for me, because I already thought, oh, what the fuck just happened? And I felt so bad. Like I was really startled, actually. So that's when everything happened, because my colleague was like, what happened? Like, did you talk? I kind of relayed everything that we just discussed, or that we talked about. And her reaction, that's for another video, but it's really about what happened afterwards. So yeah, I didn't feel good at all. My whole day actually was ruined after that, because that word, when I heard it the first time, or when we were in the dark already and he was making these jokes, I was already kind of uncomfortable. But now that I heard it twice, I heard the word twice, I didn't know what to do. And well, actually I didn't know what to do, because after that I felt so uncomfortable. I told my colleague I need to step outside, because I feel my emotions really rising. So I'll be back. The first thing that I did after I stepped out of the class, I called the manager, like our manager, immediately, the manager of the organization. That's where I broke. I just started crying. I told them everything. And actually what happened after and what happened next is what I want to talk about, and that's actually the core of the story, because I don't want to go into the whole debate of the word and the kid and blah blah blah. I'm just talking about how it made me feel and what happened afterwards. When I called the manager of the organization, I was so shocked about how fast they reacted. Like, they stepped in very fast. I was immediately connected with their integrity coach. He called me that same day, that same evening, because in the phone call to my manager, I told him straight up, I'm so not okay right now, and I don't know how to continue this day, knowing that I had to teach the toddlers in the afternoon. I told him I really don't know what to do, and I don't know if I want to continue. I don't know if I even want to come back tomorrow. He understood everything. He let me speak. I was I was crying. I'm laughing now because it's just like, damn. But he listened, he understood everything, and he advised me to just take my break and to just calm down in a way, like, because my emotions were really rising. And he just told me, it's okay, you can just take a walk. If you need me, just call me back. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to put you through with our integrity coach. He's going to call you, if not after this phone call, or if not after this day. But we do not take things like this lightly. And him saying these things made me calmer already, because my mind was racing, and my mind took me back to, instances where these things happen, and where I felt so disappointed, because in the past nothing ever happened. Like, there is no consequence to things like this. So when he told me all of the steps that they as an organization take in cases like these, I kind of felt reassured, and I calmed down. So long story short, the situation was taken care of. It was taken very seriously, no ignoring it, no brushing it off. And the kid didn't participate in the play. And I need to talk about this a little bit more, because when the integrity coach called me in the evening, I was already at home. They left it up to me, but not in a we don't want to deal with this, but in a very respectful way. Actually, they asked me, what is the best way for me to move on from this, like, that for me to mentally be okay and to mentally move on. And I genuinely felt like I want to see this kid again, and it's especially with his parents, because I also want to explain to the parents why I did what I did, and why it makes me feel this way. And I just thought maybe a conversation, but also in my mind I was still stuck with I'm over this, I'm fed up, they don't see me tomorrow, I'm not even coming back tomorrow, all of this, right? But there's also a part of my head that's like, but the other kids, what about the other kids? You were very good with the other kids, they actually had fun, and the toddlers even have nothing to do with this, and they really like you, they really like coming to these things. So that other part of me was like, am I really going to quit? Yes, I'm really going to quit because of this, but also no, I don't want to quit. So I told the integrity coach this. I told them everything. I also told them like this is really where my head is at. And basically he was like, take the night's rest. If you don't hear from me anymore, know that this and this and this is what we will do. We don't take these things lightly, but however, it is in collaboration with the city of Knokke. So they had to consult each other. And when they consulted each other, he called me back very quickly to be like, actually, it's a done deal. Knokke also is not playing around with racism like that. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to call the parents. If they're open for an conversation, this will happen the next day, so the last day in the morning. If not, if they don't want to, then it's simple, the kid doesn't participate, and this is what we can do. How do you feel about it? And honestly, I was so shocked because again, when I was a kid, this didn't happen. You immediately expect disappointment, you expect just to be sad again, but this time it didn't end there, and I was just completely shocked. The next day, the kid didn't come. But what was interesting is that he participated with his sister. So his sister was still in class, and his sister came running to me the next morning because eventually I decided to go. I was like, I'm bigger than this. And also, again, the other kids have nothing to do with this. We were actually making something really nice. So it's being taken care of. It's handled. I can let go now. So I went the next day, and what really touched me is when his sister came running to me. Mind you, I don't know what the parents said to the integrity coach, because when he called me to talk about it, I was already sleeping. So when his sister came to me, she hugged me and she was like, I'm so sorry. I was also taken aback and actually like, I don't know how to react to this, but I'm like, thank you. And she kind of shared with me, she told me, my dad was so angry with you last night. But you're you're so sweet with me, and I like you, and can we please make it like a nice day? And I kind of had to like, I reassured her, but I also needed to count all of the kids like it was morning and we need to go upstairs to start the day. So I reassured her and also thanked her, but I also told her like, let's talk about this upstairs. When we were upstairs, I quickly addressed it, but I didn't want to go into all of that again. Like I was prepared this time, as in mentally, I wanted to guard myself. So when I told the kids, because obviously their friend is not in the class anymore, so I wanted to address that student X was not with us that day. Their response also took me by surprise again. They were like, yeah, we understand. So what are we going to do? Blah, 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 blah. And I loved that they switched so fast. I really loved the day after. I was just like, so the day of the performance, let's say, the parents came, and even his parents, he didn't come, but his parents came. I was kind of expecting like maybe an escalation or something. They didn't talk to me. I was fine. The sister afterwards came to me and she told me that she really liked the class, the course, whatever. And other kids came, not to even talk about what happened, but to just reassure me and my colleague that we really did a good job and they really enjoyed coming, even though they were very chaotic at sometimes and just, being kids and very loud. That was really nice to have as like reassurance. So now maybe you're wondering, what is the point of this story? There are several points. I want you to speak up for yourself. If you take anything from this story, let it be to speak up for yourself. Because I spoke up, and me speaking up changed everything for me personally. Everything else was able to happen. And getting to that point of speaking up for myself was a journey. It really was. This connects everything, and it connected everything I've been working on and I am working on. I don't want to be that person that just tags their work into everything, but this really is a moment for me to really tag my work, my EP that I just released, Rooted in Love, because it's so much more than just the title. I'm really living the title. But now I'm so guarded in a good way that I don't take disrespect like this lightly. I don't. And I will never let anything slide like this. The way the organization handled this, it's so refreshing to see that there are people, that there are organizations out there that don't tolerate this and actually put word to action in cases like this. Because the more this happens, like the more organizations, people stand up, speak up for injustice, speak up for hate speech, for whatever is wrong, the more that happens, the smaller the bigger problem gets. I know it's a lot. It's even a lot still for me to process, but more on a positive note. I'm not looking back at this experience sadly. No, I actually feel so empowered. I feel so encouraged, and I'm again super proud of myself. Looking at my inner child and being like, I got you, girl. You are never again to be in a position where you feel so powerless and so worthless because of the way you look, because of your skin tone. What? No. If you take anything of this story, let it be the hope, let it be the strength that you need to keep speaking up for yourself, no matter in what kind of situation. And yes, I agree, there is a place and a time, or there is a way of talking and saying things. All for that. Yes, let's treat each other with respect. But what we're not going to do is, you're not going to cross my boundaries, you're not going to make me feel like this, and I am going to say what's on my mind, always, always. So yeah, thank you for listening. I guess I don't know how to close these, but this was my first YouTube video. I have a lot to talk about just in day-to-day life, so this is definitely not the last video. It's the first of many. So yeah, I hope you have a nice day, a nice weekend wherever you are, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.